solutions, but there is a lot of ways in which they can find solutions. So we shouldn't think of giving fixed value, finite ends, precise responsibilities, bit of fuzziness. Fuzziness in responsibility is a good idea. It generates internal space for people to figure out exact way of doing things. That's the advantage of fuzziness. Fuzzy boundaries have that advantage. So institutions are like grammar, technology is like word, and this tree that you are seeing here, there is a meaning in this picture. Can you tell me why these boxes of condensed milk and other boxes have been put on this tree? Can you tell me why? Why should people do this? Why have they put boxes on the stem? Empty tins. But why do they need to protect it? What could have happened? Who would eat it? No, but the adjoining tree is very big. They actually wanted to grow. No. It's only for some stage they want to put. After they will remove it. The bark of the tree is liked by the cattle. You know, it's a willow tree. Cricket bat बनाते ना, वो tree है ये. And it also has salicylic acid, which is used for pain relieving. Now animals somehow figured it out. So when they feel a lot of pain or tired, they want to eat a little bit of bark to remove their pain. But in the process, tree will die. So they evolved this. Very interesting solution. Appropriate, can work for the problem that is there. The issue is that there is a cooperation required here. If my cattle are going there, and if I find that they are barking the tree and there is no protection, I am supposed to take the cattle away. See, you must have noticed that though farmer has a iron fencing around the field, isn't it? But do cattle roam in the fields? Why don't they roam? It's easy, no? And not necessarily that everybody is watching. Who will see if I graze my cattle in the field? खेत में चला दूं जानवर को किसको पता चलेगा यार? क्यों भाई? हैं? पुरुषोत्तम, if the field is very far, बहुत दूर है खेत, और गाय लेके चला रहा हूं, मैं किसी खेत में चला दूं, किसको पता चलेगा? लेकिन नहीं चलाते ना लोग. क्यों नहीं चलाते? लेकिन क्यों नहीं चलाते इसको? क्यों नहीं खोल देते खेत के अंदर? फसल खराब हो जाएगी ना. भाई मैं चलाऊंगा तो कल को मेरे खेत में भी चलाएगा. If I graze my animals in the field, somebody else will graze their animals in the field. So it becomes a very interesting story now here, how cooperation takes place. I mentioned to you that we will discuss how cooperation follows when there is uncertainty. There is a story of Akbar and Birbal. Birbal said, you are a king because your father was a king. You were born with a silver spoon in your mouth. You don't know anything about governance. Now, Birbal was capable of saying this to the king, and king will allow him to say that because he trusted this man was a court jester, but at least he would talk the truth. He would speak the truth. So one day Birbal asked him, do you think people in your kingdom are very cooperative, very wise, very rule bound? He said, of course. He said, let us do an experiment. So a pond was dug, an announcement was made that everybody has to put a jug of milk before sunrise. So when they went there, and after sunrise they find that the pond was full of water. Everybody thought, I will put water, but others are going to put milk. Who will discover it? किसी को तो पता नहीं चलेगा. मैं दूध पानी डालूंगा, बाकी लोग दूध डालेंगे, तो कैसे मालूम पड़ेगा? वो सारे सब पानी डाल दिया सबने. Now the issue is that this theorem is used to argue that individual rationality is not only compatible with but leads to collective irrationality. It is also called prisoner's dilemma game. But reality of the life is that it is not true. On a lot of issues we cooperate, And one example that I just gave was that despite no guard and no fencing, people do not leave their animals in the fields. But sometimes when the migrant herds come, they have a problem. They don't follow this rule. So one farmer in Surendranagar was very upset that shepherds will make a camp in his village, and then sometime they will damage the crop. And since shepherds were very strong, very dominating, the farmer was somehow not able to fight with them. So he said, what do you do? So then he developed a technological innovation. Problem was institutional. These people are not following the rule of the village. That's the institutional problem. He found a technological solution. He took buttermilk, castor crop, soaked the seed of castor with the buttermilk, and then sowed the crop. The leaves of the castor became bitter, much more bitter than normal. Any animal which will eat it will die. Some animal died. When animal died, the shepherd made hue and cry. Last year we came, nothing happened. This year what have we done? Our animals are dying. He said, but you're not supposed to eat it. Your animals are not supposed to eat it. No, but sometimes animals are animals after all, they can eat it and you are not supposed to do. What have you done? So farmer explained what he had done. Then other people in the village said, but that's not right. You should not let the animals be killed. And don't follow this practice. We don't think that's the right thing. But yes, we agree the shepherd should not also let their animals in the field. So he stopped that practice. But this innovation emerged because institutions had failed. So 2 points. One, that the designs, the diversity of solutions will emerge when we allow people to experiment. People will experiment when they identify with the problem, which we discussed earlier. And if institutional problem solutions do not emerge and succeed, technologically people will try to solve problem, and that is all right. Sometime it can happen. Now, one of the ways in which we want to find out how good our intervention is, how well the action is this sign. That if a dialogue among the users takes place, if people talk to each other about what has been done, you can be sure that something right is happening. But if people don't talk about it among themselves, don't critique it, don't discuss it, something wrong. So dialogue among users is a sign that something right is happening. May not be appropriate completely, but at least people are interested in discussing it. And one of the very interesting principles to find out whether the participatory design, participatory development that we're talking about, is it taking place? The evidence is, have people thought about it and worked out some. So let me stop at this point and ask whether our users in this class are attempting to do the same thing that I'm asking people to do it. So I'll ask a question and then let us see how many of you are thinking through that question adequately. Yesterday we discussed that nature-dependent societies and market-dependent societies differ in certain respects. We also discussed that market-dependent societies tend to be short-term oriented. They are very digital. They don't leave space for common properties. The role of women is very limited there. The IOUs are settled in the short time frame. Reciprocities are very specific. They want to settle their accounts at the end of the transaction. We looked at all those parameters. Now, my question that I want to listen to you all is that if we were to deal with the market situation, our country, we know that we are getting into highly commercialized world, a lot of market interventions, almost every phase of life. So much so that one person published a paper, and it's published paper, so you can find on the web. It came in EPW. He calculated the value of mother's milk. And he said, if you collect that milk, for whatever reasons, this is the value that you can collect. He was thinking of mother's milk being harnessed as an economic activity. Market. Anybody can create a market for anything. And there will always be helpless women who would have milk but probably are needing some money. So instead of feeding their own children, they would rather sell it. and somebody else will buy it who doesn't have milk but has children and will pay for it. Correct? From one child's mouth, it will go to another child's mouth because of market. So markets are ruthless. Markets are ruthless. They can create an exchange of no matter what commodity you discuss. There's a paper by Larry Summers, former president of Harvard. He said that there's a market for white children and black children. And white children will carry premium. Market for children. Now we all know, I know, that mothers, no matter how much they say that they love every child equally, but they love fair child more than the unfair child. I mean, somehow, I have seen this in families. I may be forgiven to saying that. But somehow, grandmothers, mothers have a bias towards fair children, children of fair color. Isn't it true? In our culture, होता है थोड़ा सा, होना नहीं चाहिए लेकिन होता तो है. बड़ा दुख होता है लेकिन होता तो है. So he may not be completely off the mark when he says that. But can you imagine a market for children? But markets, people who believe in markets will not mind creating anything up for exchange. It could be mother's milk or it could be babies. Doesn't matter. And you can go to orphanages and you can find the way adoption rate of the fair children and the black children. You will invariably find boys will have higher adoption than girls and fair children will have higher adoption than the black ones. So it is not that this market is not happening. This market is there. Unfortunately, this market is there. But you feel that it is not very nice. So my question is that if we have to create market for merit, where people will get chance in their life on account of their strength and not on account of their connections or other collateral, what fundamental change we should make in the society? What is the fundamental change that Indian society should go through? To make it a meritocratic society. क्या करें? What is one most important thing we should change?
Elimination of private property. Elimination of private property.
How will that improve the chances for the meritorious people?
Can't be excluded from owning something. Everyone owns everything.
No, but how would you bring premium for merit? Merit.
It wouldn't be based on how much property you own that you get to certain positions or something.
Well, we say that in IMA, we admit only those students who have merit. Right? But the fact is that 80% of students who come to IMA, or maybe 90%, have gone through coaching. And cost of coaching is not uniformly distributed. Not everybody has equal chance to go through coaching. That's a fact. But it is also true that we don't discriminate when we admit. We go exactly by merit. But that merit is not constructed in a fair manner. सही है ना? जब 80% 90% बच्चे हमारे यहाँ कोचिंग करके आते हैं तो सबको बराबर चांस तो नहीं मिला मेरिट दिखाने का, लेकिन जिनको मिल गया उनमें से हम डिस्क्रिमिनेट नहीं करते. This is the point. So we are justified in our way of saying that, look, we are not discriminating against anybody. We are absolutely fair, which is true. You should trust us. That we have not admitted a single person in this institute in the last 50 years on ground other than merit. That's a fact. So is the case with IITs. So is the case with medical institutes. So is the case with Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. So is the case with IISc. So there are many institutions in this country which can justifiably claim that they have not admitted anybody other than on merit. But how is that merit constructed? That merit is not constructed in a fair and even manner. अब किसी को अंग्रेजी नहीं आती है, उसका दिमाग कमजोर है क्या? लेकिन उसको मौका तो नहीं मिलता उतना जितना बाकी लोगों को मिलता है. Isn't it true? But you are supposed to have a meritocratic society. Who did say that merit and English are equal? No. अंग्रेजी की knowledge, knowing English, shouldn't be equivalent to having merit, But in this country, we all know, and at least I can tell you, people who do not know English suffer a disadvantage. True? Even in roles and activities where English is not required. ठीक है ना? अब डॉक्टर को अगर ट्रीट करना है या किसी